Chris McCall. I used to be a good public speaker, but now that I'm beginning to enter my 80th year, and I had dementia before, it's getting really bad, so I'm a little worried I can't even remember anything. In that sense, you need to write this down, if you can, someplace, because this is a link to this whole slideshow, which is beautiful slideshow, but that projector doesn't deal with it correctly. It's not stretched out like that. It's true 16:9. Those seniors are from my hydroponics.
There's sort of a rattle with it.
Hello, the rattle is in my voice.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess, I don't know. So, those seniors are from my hydroponic garden. We'll begin. My gardening experience, when I was in my early 20s, I worked as a volunteer with the Denver Botanic Gardens. I gave tours of the conservatory, and then I got involved and I created a bonsai booth for the plant sale, and it was really profitable. So the next year they made me co-chairman, and the year after they made me chairman of the plant sale. In doing that, I got keys to the garden, and
Okay. Crank it. Go ahead.
I got keys to the garden, and I could take ladies there in my 20s at night for a tour, because the gardens closed at 5 o'clock. Nobody can get in after that. So it was kind of a cool thing. They're gorgeous gardens. All the plants that grow here were in their conservatory. I also built a lot of ponds, and then here I was involved in cement art, which a lot of people came to learn how to do cement art for bird baths and things for their gardens. What is hydroponics? Hydroponics is a method of growing plants without soil. So you grow plants directly in the nutrients. It has a lot of advantages, it has some disadvantages, and we'll go over that. Soil versus hydroponics is that stuff grows more rapidly in a hydroponic environment because the plant has nutrients totally available for it. Its roots do develop a lot, but it doesn't need to put a lot of energy into roots like it does in soil, so they get bigger, quicker, faster. However, we have to thank the cannabis growers in the United States, because marijuana added huge to the availability of hydroponic stuff. I mean, Amazon has probably 3,000 hydroponic items on it, thanks to all our pot growers. Some pot growers grow some pot in soil in their hydroponic setup. Their setup is a tent inside with controlled air, controlled water temperatures, a lot of money in it because they get a lot of money out of it, but they say that the soil gives an earthy flavor to the marijuana. Advantages and disadvantages of hydroponics. There's a lot of stuff on that, and you can see that, but you know, this is my garden outdoors. I'm standing there pondering how I'm going to keep the cutter ants out. I'm thinking of making a 4x4 pipe trench around the top of it so they drown on the way in. I put anything out there and they're eaten, you know, in a couple of weeks. The papaya tree does great, and also I live in clay. So to make a garden like this, I have to put 5 inches of gravel in the bottom of the garden, and then pipes in there, and then dirt on top of that, and so it drains out. Otherwise, the plants rot in the soil. So for me, hydroponics is way cheaper than gardening. Now, if you live here, you've got black soil in your backyard, you want to dig a hole, work straight, you don't have cutter ants, then hydroponics can be a little more expensive than gardening. This is my first system. I was at Dorado in the 1st of November last year, and I saw this system there, and I bought it, and I brought it home, and I got a bucket that I had left over out, and I poured the nutrients together, put it in there, and that's the pump. And there's a little timer on the pump. It's a little teeny thing, you can't see it here, about that big. Turns the pump on and off, and it cycles. And I put the nutrients in. I planted those seeds in November 6th, and this is November 30th. And we ate for another 4 or 5 weeks off of this. This is zinnias. The zinnias you saw on the front came from this. This was tomatoes. Don't do tomatoes in an itty bitty teeny thing like this, because it doesn't work. Eventually, clog up the pipes and the nutrient flow over. But this is all you need to know. Buy a setup, get some nutrients A and B, mix them up, put it in, and grow stuff. Now, there's a really lot of material after this. And, you know, at this point, you can leave. You've got everything you need to know with hydroponics. All the rest of this, my wife goes, it's too much material. They're going to get all confused. So that's why I did the book and stuff. Now you're just supposed to kind of pay attention. I'm going to do this a little differently than normal. We're going to do sections. So we're not going to have a section on the type of the hydroponic system. I'm going to stop for questions, if you have any on that section, nothing else. Because I wouldn't remember my question by the time I get to the end of the lecture about systems. Deep water culture, it's a great system. Deep water culture uses, it can be done several ways. This is a 5-gallon bucket cover. I've got a pepper plant growing in this that's now about this tall off the ground. We've gotten 50 peppers off of it. There's 50 more peppers on it. I like deep water culture a lot. Deep water culture is similar to the cracking method in that deep water culture has nutrients in it, but you change the nutrients, and you have air pump. You can get the little aquarium air pumps from Milo's Aquarium Store, or this is a big air pump, does a whole lot of tanks with air stones on it. The air stone goes into the nutrient fluid in the bottom of the tank, and that bubbling air, I run it on a timer, it doesn't go all the time, and that bubbling air oxygenates the water, because this is keeping oxygen away from the roots, because this is over the top of the bucket. And so things grow better with that oxygenated water. That's deep water culture. And these are my systems you can see here. These are the big plants with that. Deep water culture can also be done using the small neck cups, and you just cut holes in the lid like I did in the mint one. Or you could do, you know, plastic boxes that are like this big, and do holes all around it like that, and you have deep water culture. About every 2 weeks, I make the deep water culture so I could change the nutrients. Fresh nutrients help. Sometimes I switch my nutrients out. That also helps. We'll get to that when we get to nutrients. In my pepper plant, you can see that it's wired to my hydroponic stand behind it, so I can't empty it. I just now have to fill it and put stuff in it. I siphon stuff out. So I would make a wire rack in the future that I can pick up the whole plant and its rack that it's tied to change out and clean the nutrient solution.
I have a question.
Yes.
Those 5-gallon buckets with the tubs, you could install a little valve at the bottom to empty it, couldn't you?
You could. Yes.
And you have to do every couple of weeks, you change the nutrient?
Yes. And you know, some places also do deep water culture like that as an ebb and flow. We'll get to ebb and flow in a minute. You can set that up too.
How does the air get into the bucket? Is there a hole in the bucket that you run the pump?
There's a hole in the top here.
Ah,
And
okay.
aquarium air hose, you know, that little teeny air hose goes down through
okay.
to the stone in the bottom of the bucket.
I didn't see that.
You can see in this picture, this guy has it on the side.
Yeah.
Another question.
Aeroponics is another method. Yes.
So do you change the water out because the nutrients have been absorbed by the plant, or is there another reason?
You change the water out. No, actually, the nutrients do get it. We'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
Because there's a method. You change it out because it keeps, it's the nutrients, it's not water. You change the nutrients out because it keeps it healthy root-wise. Because you can get algae and other stuff. Aeroponics is another method of building, doing hydroponics, and that is you have spray mister nozzles and a timer, and your pump sprays water on the roots. It's used a lot in tower systems, this is a tower system, so it has spray nozzles all the way up on it, Tower systems have an advantage in that you can get a lot of plants in a teeny space. But, you know, power failures, you're hosed. Get dirt in it, you're hosed again. So, not my favorite. Aquaponics is growing fish in a tank and then taking that water and circulating it through the hydroponics. The plants clean the water for the fish and get the nutrients out of the fish poop. And then it goes back into the tank with fresh water for the fish like that, and it keeps going around and around. A lot of work, and I don't like tilapia that much, and that's the common fish used for it. Nutrient film technique is a method of having the nutrient solution run as a film over the roots. So it just continually runs, and it's just a thin amount of water, then it goes over it. Again, if you have power failures, it's a problem. Tower systems, we saw, can be several different kinds. So you can have a tower system that drips down, tower systems can spray, and tower systems can actually have a nutrient film going down the side of it. A little later, you'll see a tower system available on Amazon for $900. Fits next to your counter, does everything. It even has sensors to tell when to change nutrients, and it's incredible. Ebb and flow is what I use, a modified kind of ebb and flow. It is my choice because it doesn't matter if the power goes out. Ebb and flow is done several ways. It can be done in pipes. This is commercial ebb and flow here. These trays, the plants sit on top, and these can be glued together, and they put the trays together, and it could be 200 feet long in a greenhouse. And they then fill this up with nutrients, and then the nutrients flows out, and it goes back down to where just nutrients are in the little channels, and then a little while later it fills up and goes back down. So it's bringing oxygen to the plant roots, and it's bringing fresh nutrients to the plant roots. In our systems, it's a sort of modified ebb and flow, because you can see the pipe enters at the middle of this thing. You could make it go down lower, so it really lowers and raises, but so then the pump pumps the water, and the water level comes up in the system. When the pump goes off, the water drains out of the system and drains back down through the pump. The pumps don't have a check valve in it. The little pump you saw is about this big. This is a big pump from a big system. They're cheap, $29, you get 2 of them, including fittings for connecting them. Wicking system is absolutely the cheapest, easiest hydroponic system you can do. You can take a 2-liter Pepsi bottle, cut it as shown here, take old mops, clean the mop really well, put 4 or 5 mop strands through the nozzle of the Pepsi bottle upside down here, as you can see, and then put a growing medium in there, which there are a lot of choices. We didn't bring any of those. Rats. So you can get perlite, you can get cocoa. This is cocoa. This turns into a wheelbarrow of peat moss kind of stuff. You can actually use peat moss too. And we get it here as a medium to hold the plants. Kitchen counter systems. These are kitchen counter systems. If you're getting a kitchen counter system, this is a Arrow Garden. I got it on sale. It's their harvest model. They're $100 and something plus, but I got mine on sale for 70 or 80 bucks. This one, it grows beautifully. It has a little light on the front that tells you every 2 weeks to change your nutrients out. It circulates the pump, it turns on and off automatically, so you can grow your dope in it and have it in the corner and not worry about it. This is a $45 Mufagi system, and it does sort of the same thing, but it has to go 16 hours because this light is not very strong. This is 25 watts. This is probably 18 watts of power. The lights are LEDs that are blue, red, some other color to make light that's equal to what the sun is like. And this, you know, they sell it, this has got like, I don't know how many, 18 holes in it, a huge amount of holes. But you can't use that many holes because it, you know, there's no room for the plants to grow. This has 6 holes, and it's tight. This system I just found, I learned more about hydroponics doing this lecture than I had any of the time. I spent the last week putting all this together. I really learned a lot. But this is one I found called Grow Well. It's currently $119. I'm going to check on Amazon days to see if they bring the price down. If they do, I'll buy it. It's got a 38-watt light. It has a 16 by 11 platform with only 10 holes. This platform is 16 by 9. So it's longer than this, has more real estate. So the real estate's similar to this, and the light is way stronger than this. So I think it will be a really good system. So if you're interested in kitchen counter, and kitchen counter is a great way to go. I mean, you know, you buy it, it comes with usually these nutrients, A and B, which are fine, and it's easy to do.
Chris, can you buy the nutrients at Melo?
No,
Where do you get
that I
it?
know of. I mean, every time I go into Melo for something, oh, we're out of that. Oh, we're out of that. Oh, we're out of that. You don't have any cow food? No, we don't have any. It's like, so
Where do you
there
get
is
them, all on Amazon?
There is an agriculture store, I'll show you when we get to nutrients, where you can buy stuff. So this is my house with the systems in it. You can see this is May 31st, this is June 10th, this is July 1st. This has a really nice stand that comes with it, the air garden to put the plants on while you're cleaning it. This one, I just stick it in the kitchen sink, it doesn't have a stand. To clean it. It's supportive so the roots aren't crushed. Okay, so building a system. This is garden, and that's spelled correctly. $848 plus about $102 in shipping. It's about this tall. It has sensors to tell when to do the lights. It has sensors to change the nutrients. It has sensors to tell you to clean stuff. It really is totally automatic if you have a really lot of money. This is a little kit, much similar to the one I bought from Dorado, only this is table formed, and these are about $100. I think Prime Days it'll be less. They vary, you know, like everything on Amazon, they come expensive and then they come cheap, and they come expensive and then they come cheap. But it's, I think, a great system. It comes with a pump, comes with a timer. So if you want something simple, I don't think it comes with a bucket. You got to supply a bucket, but you want to be sure you have a top on your bucket. And oxygenating the bucket's a good thing. My first system that you saw, I didn't know about oxygenating it, but the water ran through air and dribbled into the bucket, so it caused splashing in the bucket, and thus it got oxygenated. Excuse me. Something you have to deal with here is algae and root rot, which we'll get to in a minute. But that's something you'll have to think about with that system. Okay, oh yeah, we get to it on this slide now. This is my system. This is, as you can see, taken April 8th, and this is taken May 9th. I've got 2 systems here. I got this one, which is 4-inch pipe, 3 together. They go into a large 40-gallon tank down here of nutrients. And that little pump pumps up this hose here, and then it goes there, and you can see all of that is covered in aluminum foil. And you can see behind me the little This one is on 16 hours. This one is on automatic. So check your chair for cracks.
Yeah, really.
So algae is a big problem. And I bought Schedule 26 PVC pipe. I also have bought Schedule 40 PVC pipe, which is real thick. But you don't need, Schedule 40 because light still comes through it. So I had all this Schedule 26 and I was going to replace it with Schedule 40, but I could still see light through this Schedule 40. It'll grow algae. I thought aluminum foil. One roll of aluminum foil in the 2-pack from PriceMart covered all of that with aluminum foil. No light comes through aluminum foil. And aluminum foil is advantageous because the sun hits those things and reflects off. Because you want to keep your nutrient solution cool. Super hot nutrient solution causes, again, problems with your plants. So having the aluminum foil cuts that down, and that brings me to remembering something. My air pump, I have this cool timer, which is only like $11 waterproof. 24 hours, 15-minute increments. So I set this timer so it runs a lot more at night, bubbling at night, because it's cooler in Caldera at night, so it brings the temperature of my nutrient solution down. In other words, I'm air conditioning the nutrient solution for free, basically. So in the day, it's cool going through. So I don't have any of the problems with this system of root rot or algae. Algae is a real problem because algae eats your nutrients and is a place that stuff can grow. So this is May 17th. This was May 9th. May 17th. I put these slides together. This pipe is straight, it's not bad, but it gave a better slideshow. But you can see we ate off of that. When you're eating lettuce, you trim it, and you just pick the bottom leaves off. This is my pepper plant that's in a deep water culture system. And this is the end of the cycle. These are starting to go to seed. Currently, and always before, I buy lettuce from Annie's at Tap Out. It's hydroponically grown, it's the same as this. It's really good lettuce. So why should I spend my time and money doing lettuce? What I do now, I'm changing to, is stuff that is expensive that I can't get, like maybe arugula. Other things that have flavor, like lemon balm, is there, and stuff you can add to salads that's fun, and then peppers and flowers, and you can do roses, you can do all kinds of things in hydroponic. I'm moving to that. These are the parts that I use to build my system. Fittings, a diamond drill to drill the holes, Teflon tape. Teflon tape is a trick. The neck pots, the air pump, the water pump, air stones, half solder cut aluminum foil, and for some parts, PVC glue. Teflon trick is important to know about because you see how I can open this up. I can clean this now. If I had these caps on here, it would be really, really hard to clean these pipes. Now they open on both ends. I can clean it all out. I can flush out any debris and all that stuff that's in there, and because I can take the caps off. So all of these parts are glue. You can see the glue on them. This is all glue, but these slip fittings are not glued. So how do we keep them from leaking? You wrap Teflon tape around them, and you put the Teflon tape where you start at the beginning of the pipe with just a little bit of Teflon tape. This is Teflon tape, in case you haven't seen Teflon tape. Looks like that. And then you get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. More. So one wrap here, 3 or 4 wraps here, 5 or 6 or 7 wraps here. So when the pipe slides on, it grabs a Teflon and it gets stuffed into any cracks and no leaks. So it's a cool way. Growing mediums. So sprouting and growing are two different things. We'll get to sprouting in a second. Any questions?
Yeah.
Any questions on systems?
Yeah, I've got one. The cap, when you remove the cap to clean your system out, do you have to replace the Teflon tape?
Yes. Yeah, I take it off and put new Teflon tape on because the other got all crunched up.
Okay.
And you have to use I use a rubber hammer
Yeah.
to gently get the stuff off. People hold the pipes.
Right.
And then I gently hammer it on and then test it with water. If it's leaking, a little more hammering in. Any other system questions? Yes?
Just a quick question for your setup on your, I guess you have it on the porch, is it covered?
Yes,
Open?
it's on a patio. It could be open to, if you're open, you can do things. Where can I show something like that? Well, if you had this outside, then you could take and put aluminum foil around where your medium is up to the stem. And so a little water would leak into your nutrient solution. It's fine, because your nutrient level goes down. The plant needs a lot of water and nutrient. Water and nutrients is the same thing in hydroponics. I should be saying nutrient all the time instead of occasionally saying water. I add water to my nutrient solutions, and then I change the whole nutrient solution out from time to time. But that lets you have it outside. But then if you have it outside and you have leaf cutters, you've got the problem. Yeah.
I just had an addition to the algae root rot problem. There's a white elastomeric root paint that you can buy, and it has a UV protectant in it. You can paint your tubes with that white elastomeric before you put your whole system together, and it keeps a lot of that sunlight out. It'll still go through the net counts, but and you'll get some algae, but it'll keep a lot of it out. You paint those tubes ahead of time.
And what do you say? Say that again louder.
Say again?
Say what it is again louder.
Oh, it's elastomeric roof paint, so it's for painting metal roofs.
Oh, okay.
And but it's elastomeric, so it has a UV protectant in it also.
Okay, yeah, that would work. I like the aluminum foil for, you can kind of see it here. You can see that the net pots are flat. If you fill your net pot up all the way with medium, no light gets in through the net pot. But if it's in a round hole, there's a gap here and a gap here in the round hole. And with the aluminum foil, I wrap the whole thing, then I take a razor knife and cut the hole at a little X thing, and I make a little light band on each side, so the aluminum foil comes up to the edge. And the cost difference between my aluminum foil of $3 for all of that and your elastomeric pipes is way different, more expensive. But yours is way prettier than mine is. If you need pretty, that's a really good way to go, if you don't care if it looks like crap. And I got really good at wrapping. You can see in that photo that aluminum is really smooth and stuff. You can see this is how some of our first stuff looked, all crinkly. But I got better with practice. Okay, growing mediums. So growing mediums are after you have, or a seedling, you have some choices. I like this one. It's expensive, but you can put the seeds directly in it. It's got fertilizer in it. It makes it easy to grow. So I enjoy them. And if it doesn't sprout, I reuse it. You're not supposed to, but I reuse it. This is a medium that works really good. It's cocoa fiber. It's a brick. You put it in water, and it expands. It does a half of a wheelbarrow full off of this brick. Makes a lot, and I could keep that. This also is great for mixing with soil for your potted houseplants in soil. This is rock wool. It's spun. It's similar to fiberglass. They do the same precautions. You should have a mask on when you're handling it. You should have gloves on because it can make you itchy and stuff like that. The seed goes in the center. You can come up and look at all this stuff afterwards if you want. These come with the little kits that you saw. It's just a sponge, and you can put things in the sponge. And you need to have to, I don't have any clay pebbles here, but I'm gonna start getting clay pebbles. I haven't gotten them for the reason that they're so heavy and they're expensive to ship. But you could sterilize the clay pebbles and use them again and again. Starting seedlings. This is a fun method to do. It's a paper towel, and you put water in the bottom, just enough to get the paper towel wet. Put your seeds on, cover it with the lid. It gives a nice humid environment. Put it in a dark space. Seeds like to be dark to sprout. When they sprout, take tweezers and put them into this. You could split these open and drop the seed into that, or you could put them into this, same thing, or you could put them in directly into a hole. You could fill a net pot with cocoa fiber or some of the other fibers, stick a hole in it, put your seed in it, and tighten it up. You want to fill the net pot all the way because it is the physical structure that holds your plant up. It doesn't provide any nutrients because all the nutrients are below coming from the roots, but it holds the plant, keeps it from tipping over, and keeps the sunlight out of your plants. Have you ever seen, I can't believe these. I brought this. You see those itty bitty teeny dots there? Those single dots? That's mint seeds. Mint seeds are the smallest thing on the earth. It's like, how can this possibly grow into the huge plant that it gets into? So you can buy, these are $6 on Amazon. Lettuce too. I mean, you pick up, your finger to pick up a little lettuce and you stick it on here, and you've got 100 seeds. So, what you're spending a lot of time doing is picking out all of the sprouted things that you don't need in your block. So if you get this, and this is another way you put seeds in here, and you just push down on it a little, and a few seeds come out. So it makes it easy to put seeds in the holes inside stuff, or you could put them in here and scrape them off with a tweezer into where you want them to go.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe this is a silly question, but can you do like root vegetables like radishes and carrots?
Yes. You definitely can do root vegetables in hydroponics. Things like beets are done not for the beet because it doesn't work too well, but the greens are great, and the greens are great in salads. Radishes, they say you can do. I haven't read up on it. Do some Google searching, but I have heard that you can do radishes. I suspect I would try doing radishes in a deep pot so that there's room for the radish to do its trip. You could do sweet potatoes and other things also, but you have to remember that these root crops are used to having soil squish them. So it holds them together. So when you do them in something that's loose and airy, they're going to get long and langy.
I'm really interested in onions, garlic, ginger,
All of that's possible. I really recommend you don't start with that. I recommend you don't start with tomatoes, and you don't start with that. You start with something easy like lettuces, herbs, and things like that to get going with your system, and then get into the difficult things.
And you mentioned the small seeds. For propagation, can I use cuttings or clones?
Yes, hydroponic is fabulous for cutting propagation. In fact, they make it, and I don't have pictures of it here, but they make a thing that you put in a net cup. You can even cut the bottom out of the net cup, but this is a net cup. It's about this tall, has a hole in the center that splits open. So you take your roses and you cut a little slash on the end of the rose stem. You have one leaf on the rose, one little topping, maybe nothing. You stick a rose stem about this long down in here, and that little cup holds it. So when you put it through the, I'm not describing very well, but so you have a round thing that's open and has a hole in it, and when you put it in here, it squishes it, holds your stem tight. It doesn't hurt the stem, and it roots. And that's
discs this big,
that's the way you do your marijuana too. Because if you get some really good weed, you keep propagating that weed just by cuttings, and you get the same really good weed all the time. No risk. I don't grow weed.
Occurred to me.
So where do you get those cuttings?
On his deck.
So at some point, your seeds are ready for transplanting from, if you put them in rock wool, you need to transplant them into a net cup and have medium around them in the net cup and stuff like that. And so you do transplanting after you get real leaves. So a seedling starts and it has little funny things. There's a name for them and I can't remember the name, but it's the first two little things. And then real leaves come out. When real leaves are on a seedling, it's then strong enough to be able to handle a transplant. This is a lady, she's transplanting rock wool. She has a pair of tweezers holding the rock wool, and she's going to put it down in here and then put clay pebbles around it. YouTube, Amazon, all of everything I'm saying is all available here. Nutrients. This store is across from the library. Our new house is the other side of the library. This is the main road library. That's the Chinese restaurant place. And this, by the way, is, if you all know, Google Earth provides total photo coverage of all of Cherokee. So you can look at anybody's house on Google Maps, I mean, not Google Earth. So this is Google Maps. But anyway, that store has this nutrient, which I used a lot in my first thing. It's a 20-20-20. It's balanced, and the AB nutrients are easy to use. That I showed you the AB, and then this is very popular with growers. It's from Power Grow called Master Blend, and it's 4-18-38 and calcium nitrate and Epsom salts. We'll get into what that is. This is Humboldt's secret, and I think it should stay a secret. I bought a little bit. So, nutrient basics. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are the basics of nutrients, along with some trace elements. You'll see that you'll notice that this is high in potassium. It's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, always that order of things. This is high in potassium because potassium is really good for tomatoes, and it's actually really good for a lot of vegetable kinds of things. And it's low in nitrogen because you mix the calcium nitrate with it to make to bring the nitrogen content up. I think this is what I just said. So this is looking at the micronutrients. And we have iron, magnesium, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, chrome, nickel, and some other one. And those are important to have. You don't see nickel a lot. I haven't seen nickel a lot on labels. Jim, is nickel anything you consider? Where's Jim? Yeah.
John, yeah, if it comes in the mix of micronutrients, it's fine. I don't add any other micronutrients than what is in the mix.
Okay. You ought to talk louder too. I can barely hear you. Calcium nitrate and Epsom salt come separate from the nutrients. It's why you have A and B. One of these has the calcium nitrate, and another one has the basic nutrients in it. The reason for this is they don't like each other much. So if you mix Epsom salt and calcium nitrate together, right now, you get gypsum, drywall mud. And gypsum is not very absorbable by any plant. So it doesn't like it. So you have to mix your basic compound, and then your calcium nitrate, and you add that in, and then your Epsom salt, and you add that in. So you add them in separately and stir them up, and that gets you something that your plants can eat. Calcium nitrate and Epsom salt are really touchy. So you put too much calcium nitrate in your solution, your plants go, I'm dead, I don't like that. You do too little, like tomatoes, if they don't have that, then you get all kinds of problems like a flower rot, where your tomato is black on the bottom and looks normal on the top, or flowers fall off, things don't work. I don't know very much about the chemical stuff. Jim in the back there who talked is real knowledgeable, huh? John. John? Well, I am bored. Like I said, I'm a can't remember John, and it's written right here in front of me, but little itty bitty. Anyway, he also knows of a program called Hydroponics. One more thing on nutrients before we get to John. So there are also a lot of cool things. You know, there are tons and tons of these magic things. I bought this. You add just a few drops of it to a plant. Does it do anything? I have no idea, but it made me feel good about it. It says it's vitamins. It's been around since 1932 or something. People have been using it. Did it do anything for them? We don't know. This is another one. This is from Humboldt's Secret. It's their golden tree thing. You open it and it smells like swamp water. Really bad swamp water, and it's pitch black like tar. You put a little bit in it, turns all your water black. So now you don't know if you've got root rots or stained roots. And then this one I haven't tried, but it sounded good. So anyway, I was doing it, and this is a medicine man's thing that has the magic excelsior from the 1800s that went around and sold magic excelsiors, which some of that stuff some of it may be good too. It just had to be a place I could make fun because I can't test how good it is. These are some of the different mixtures for things, and you can see, where's my friend there? Carrots, radishes, beets, and turnips, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, celery. Even orchids can be done hydroponically. I haven't read much on that. They grow so good here, why would you try? But that's the nutrients. And John, in the back, gave me a tip today. You learn way more teaching than you ever do sitting in the audience. But he has found a thing called Hydro Buddy. Just do a Google search for it. It's a program where you can put in what you got, and it'll tell you what you're going to get as far as NPK goes. So, you know, I've got calcium. I can put that in, so it'll make it so these adjust. You could take something and adjust it to be that. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah, you take what you have, you put in what you want, and it'll tell you how many grams of each.
And does it tell you what you need to get to change what you want to change?
No, you tell it what you have.
Okay.
If you go to Melo and buy a certain mix of calcium nitrate or whatever, it's going to have different percentages depending on the manufacturer. So you put in the percentages right on the bag, and use that, it uses it in its calculation.
Where can I buy nitrate, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium separately?
Well, so I use calcium nitrate, I use potassium, triple superphosphate, things like that. So I just buy all the stuff at the cooperative.
Okay.
You know, that's for anybody who's not doing this commercially or on a big scale, it's too
Forget
complicated,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Melo has a macro and micronutrient bottle mix. If you 10 mils of this, 5 mils of this, done. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's the pH and all that sort of stuff.
Or, you know, not commercially, this is viable to bring here in a bag. They sell calcium nitrate and Epsom salts, but my guy across from the library sells calcium nitrate and Epsom salts. I said, okay, do you have any small? He said, no, I got 100-pound bags. So I skipped it. And then I went out and go, how much do those 100-pound bags cost? He said, oh, it's $15 for calcium nitrate and $8 for Epsom salts. I go, okay, I'll buy them. So now I have, if you want any calcium nitrate or Epsom salts, you can come to my house, I'll give it to you for free. Enough for a lifetime. Okay, then the other thing you have to deal with in managing your hydroponic system is temperature and EC. What is EC? EC is the electrical conductivity of your solution, of your nutrients. You can get parts per million, but parts per million cannot be so accurate because you could just have dirt in there, and that's going to count as parts per million, or dust counts as parts per million. But nutrients have an electrical coefficient, and this just puts an electrical current between one electrode and another, and measures out what they call the EC. It comes out on here as one number, 1,243, you'll see on here, but what you need to do is convert that to 1.23. So you put a point after the, if it's 839, then it's 0.89 level of your nutrients. So you can see it's 0.8. So you can see on here, see, and so, 800 would be this, 1,200 would be this, 2,000 would be that, 2,600 would be that on an EC meter. This is really, really worthwhile getting, I think, because it will keep you from overburning your plants or under watering your plants. The other meter that's available is a pH meter. pH is another super important thing because the pH is not correct for the plant can't absorb anything. It shuts down, you kill your plants. A normal pH level is between 5, I don't remember, I have to look at it, 5.5 and 6.5. This is a pH meter. Waste of money, in my opinion, because you have to calibrate this thing, and you get a little solution, and you mix it together, and you go through a whole series of things that's complicated to do to get your pH calibrated, and then you take it out and you put it in your stuff, and it has to sit there for like 5 minutes. I'm sure there's better pH meters, but this is super cheap, and you get a whole thing full of what you just use a few drops of the agent. You stick you fill this halfway full of your nutrient solution, put a couple drops of this in, and compare it to the color chart on here, and it tells you the pH level. And then this is pH up and pH down. It comes with a kit. It's like $10 or $15. So strongly recommend that. Super easy to use, really nice. Oh boy, I ran out of time. If you need to go, you can go. I won't feel offended at all. I do have a little bit more to go. So we just covered that slide. So it's 11.
Keep going.
It's okay if I go over. All right. So that's the pH up and down and all of its little parts again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is all your slides and everything are gonna be online, right?
They are currently online, and the slides are a little bit of a problem because the PDF for the slides is 275 megabytes in size, so don't do it on your phone. Do it on your computer, then you can trash it off the computer when you're done looking at it. The book, and I have a book, is online also, and the book is only 60 bytes or 70 bytes. You can do it on your phone.
Where online? You say it's online.
You didn't pay attention to the first slide, Jeff? Jesus, what were you doing? Sitting up here talking, right?
Sorry.
It's Ketty Health and Hospice / hydro.html.
You'll go back in.
Huh?
.org.
Ketty Health and Hospice
.org.
.org / yeah, thanks. So you've got to monitor your system. In other words, check your pH levels, check your EC levels. In my first system, did I do that? No, I didn't do that at all. I just changed the stuff out. It worked fine. I didn't know my pH level, but it happens to be the pH water in Caldera is 7.0. Works great. I use a lot of rainwater. That's a good pH level too in my first system. So you don't have to have that, but that's a good thing to have. But you can get into problems. And problems I did run into all of them, almost all of them. Pretty much all of them. White flies and tricks are real common, and they make your plants the leaves get a little, oh yeah, they look like this. These leaves here on this lemon balm just aren't quite the right kind of color. They got white flies. So white fly slips can happen. Mosquitoes. I found mosquitoes in my big system. They'd gotten down in through there, and the mosquitoes were there. So you've got to keep stuff covered and away from mosquitoes. This is algae. I never had algae look that bad, but it was pretty, so I put that up. Algae is a big problem of your system. There's algicides. A really good way if you get algae and you have a big system going like mine you can take 3.5% hydrogen peroxide, and it's in here, but like a teaspoon or tablespoon per gallon. Look it up on the internet, and it runs it through your system. It'll wipe out the algae, and also, as a side effect, hydrogen, give oxygen to your plant roots. John, you got anything to add on there?
I haven't had to use it. It is used for that purpose.
Okay. And then this is root rot, which I've had. These aren't my slides. I didn't have it. But this guy trimmed his roots and didn't do anything to it. But you could put those roots in a hydrogen peroxide bag, or you can mix a little bit of thiosan, which is available on Amazon. I haven't found it here. This is an algicide, fungicide, bactericide, and virucide. And comes with warnings of, don't let it touch your skin, don't breathe it, wear full protection gear when using it and stuff like that. But it's okay to eat your plants 2 days afterwards. Yes?
Could you, if you have a deep system and you have a slightly bigger space, could you put a couple of, make 4 or 5 goldfish in to?
I don't know. You mean like have a deep water culture with goldfish in it? I think your goldfish might die.
We use the goldfish in horse trucks, and they cut the algae and got rid of anything that tried to lay they disappeared from the.
Kind of modified.
Yeah.
How would the goldfish do with your nutrients?
They did fine.
Oh, you didn't have nutrient solution in your 12%.
We did it. That's why I was. But tilapia is the same kind of concept with the aquaponics. So now your goldfish will procreate, and then you'll have to dip and dump, or hopefully you have birds.
Compatibility. So these are things that you can get. This is available at that little ag store. It's Pen. It is a whitefly thrip. Anything that sucks on plant leaves eats this stuff and it dies from inside out. This is a thiosan, hydrogen peroxide. These are for whiteflies. I thought this was really cool. This is sticky paper that looks cute, and you put it next to your pot or your plant, and the whiteflies and trips get stuck on it. Get attracted to it. Same as this. This is HydroGuard, which is a chemical. It's a bacteria, a counterbacteria to the root rot bacteria, and it prevents root rot. And I haven't tried it yet. Neem oil is the local. It's organic. So neem oil. This is from Do It Center. Pump stuff it, but you gotta go and spray it underneath every single leaf. Whereas, I can mix this stuff up and walk around with my pump sprayer and get down underneath everything really, really, really easy. I guess I could do it with neem oil too. Need a really lot of it. This is just a slide on controlling root rot. So, keep beneficial bacteria, keep oxygen level up, watch for pH level. You can prune roots, hydrogen peroxide or UV lights, everything I talked about. Cleaning your hydroponic system. So this is something very important to do. I'm doing mine about every 6 months. I'm doing it right now because I had to do this show and all my lettuce. I was stupid doing lettuce. If you're going to do lettuce, to be smart about it, plant an itty bit today, then 3 weeks later plant an itty bit more. 3 weeks later a little bit more. 3 weeks later a little bit more. And then you've got a constant crop of lettuce going on. But cleaning the system, these need to be cleaned too. And they say not to use bleach, but I always use bleach. You just have to rinse it out really well. Some people use white vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and then of course thiosan. Is it worth it? So, in my case, definitely, because I can't do anything in my yard, and anything I do in my yard, the cutter ants eat. So that's for you to decide. Like I buy lettuce from Annie's Lettuce, it's great. So it's a hobby. This requires no effort. And, you know, I think totally fun to have, you know, this is tarragon growing here, right next to my stove. Oh, come on, break off. Boy, tarragon's pretty tough. So that's tarragon, smells great. You can use it as a spice. This is lemon balm, it's good in lettuce. This is parsley. I got a snapdragon going. So those are fun. I encourage you to do something like that. That's it. Oh, cool. I did pretty good. Any other questions? Oh, you're welcome to come up and look at this stuff if you want.
Okay, with other questions, speak louder, I'll bring the mic around.
So Chris, the first system you started with, what did it cost you? Originally, just the first one, ballpark.
Oh, the first little bitty one, that was $80 at Dorado, but you know, you can get one like,
I don't know if it was either, I just wondered how much it cost you on that first one. As a sample.
you can get one like this, or the one I showed you, for, you know, on Prime Days, I'm sure they'll be $70. There also is one that is just one rack